Good afternoon, sir. My name is Parel, and today our topic is the Bank of America's takeover of Merrill Lynch. My group members are me, Parel, we have Abdul Aziz, who will be talking right after me, then we have Jagrit and Zainab. Okay, alright, so on our agenda for today, we'll start off with a brief overview and give an introduction to our topic. Then we will inform you about our players, the ones who were involved, such as Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, etc. Then we will talk about the events that led to the acquisition, the shareholder approval, and the government intervention. Talk about the effects of the financial industry and how the job losses and financial intermediary took care of the clients and investor confidence. Lastly, we'll have the long-term performance and talk about all the lessons that were learned throughout this process for the banking industry in the US. And then finally, we'll have a conclusion and we will watch a short video on YouTube. So now we have Aziz, who will talk us through the overview and the introduction of our presentation.
Thank you,
Up to,
Per.
up to you.
So, for the overview, we'll begin talking about the 2008 financial crisis, and we'll talk about the position of Bank of America. Then we'll talk about their announcement and their motivation for acquiring Merrill Lynch. Then we'll talk about some details of the acquisition, and finally, the impacts and benefits of the acquisition. So, now moving on into the introduction. In 2008, during the global financial crisis, Bank of America acquired Merrill Lynch, a prominent financial services firm specializing in investment banking and wealth management. The acquisition, valued around $50 billion, was prompted by Merrill Lynch's deteriorating financial condition due to losses from mortgage related assets. Despite concerns and challenges, the acquisition was completed on January 1, 2009, making Merrill Lynch a subsidiary of Bank of America. The deal significantly expanded Bank of America's wealth management and investment banking capabilities. However, the acquisition also brought about difficulties as Merrill Lynch's losses continue to impact Bank of America's financial performance. The acquisition of Merrill Lynch by Bank of America was a pivotal event during the financial crisis, shaping the banking and investment landscape in the US. Now we have Pearl who will talk about the players.
Thanks, Aziz. All right, so our main player and the first player we had was Bank of America's Corporation. It is one of the largest banks in the United States and the acquiring entity in the deal. It is a multinational fixed financial institution offering a wide range of banking and financial services. Next, we had Merrill Lynch and Co. Merrill Lynch was a renowned global financial services firm specializing in investment banking and wealth management. It was the target of the acquisition by Bank of America. Next, we had Kenneth Lewis, who was the CEO at the time of Bank of America. He played a key role in orchestrating the deal and overseeing its execution. The next person in this case was John Thane. He was the CEO of Merrill Lynch during the acquisition process, and he led Merrill Lynch through the challenging financial crisis period and negotiated the terms of the deal with Bank of America. Lastly, we had the US government. The US government, including the Federal Reserve and the US Department of Treasury, played a significant role in providing support and assistance to facilitate the acquisition. This included financial assistances and guarantees to stabilize the financial system and mitigate risks associated with the troubled assets acquired by Bank of America. Now let's talk about the events that took place before the acquisition and through the acquisition of Merrill Lynch. First was September 15, 2008. This was the announcement of the acquisition, where Bank of America announced its agreement to acquire Merrill Lynch amidst the turmoil of the global financial crisis. Next, we had January 1st, 2009. This was the completion of the acquisition when Bank of America's takeover of Merrill Lynch was finalized, making it a subsidiary of the Bank of America. Then there was the ongoing financial challenges. Following the acquisition, Merrill Lynch's troubled assets continued to impact Bank of America's financial performance. This resulted in significant write downs and losses for the bank. The legal and regulatory issues for Bank of America faced lawsuits and investigations related to Merrill Lynch's activities during the financial crisis. This was including allegations and misleading investors. The government assistance and support for Bank of America receives financial assistance from the US government, including funds from the Troubled Asset Relief Program, in short for TARP, and additional guarantees on troubled assets to stabilize its position and mitigate risks associated with the acquisition. These events highlighted the major milestones and challenges that unfolded as a result of Bank of America's takeover of Merrill Lynch.
Now let's talk about shareholders' approval. The outcome of Merrill Lynch shareholder meeting on November 4, 2008 was that the acquisition proposal by Bank of America was approved by a majority of votes. The deal was worth $50 billion and was seen as a way for Bank of America to shore up its balance sheet in the midst of the financial crisis. The acquisition closed on December 5, 2008. There were some dissenting voices at the meeting, with some shareholders arguing that the price was too low and that deal would not be in the best interest of Merrill Lynch shareholders. However, the majority of shareholders voted in favor of the deal, which was seen as a necessary step to prevent Merrill Lynch from going bankrupt. The acquisition of Merrill Lynch by Bank of America was one of the most significant deals of the financial crisis. It helped stabilize Bank of America's balance sheet and gave it a major presence in the investment banking and brokerage business. However, the deal also came with a high price tag, and Bank of America had struggled to integrate Merrill Lynch operations. Now let's move on to government intervention. In 2008, Bank of America announced a deal to pay $50 billion to acquire Merrill Lynch, which was on the verge of bankruptcy. The Federal Reserve, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the New York State Attorney General all had to approve the acquisition under regulatory requirements. Prior to the transaction, Bank of America got 20 billion from the Struggling Asset Relief Program, which provided cash to struggling financial institutions in an effort to stabilize the financial system. Bank of America was given the legal authorization it needed from Federal Reserve to move forward with the transaction. The US Treasury Department aided Bank of America financially to strengthen its capital position and support the acquisition as part of government's response to the financial crisis. Before the transaction closed, Bank of America allowed Merrill Lynch executive to distribute bonuses totaling around $3.6 billion, which promoted a state probe. In a landmark agreement with the Justice Department, Bank of America agreed to pay 16.65 billion in 2014 for financial fraud that occurred before the during financial crisis, including deceptions made to investors in residential mortgage backed securities by Merrill Lynch. Now let's move on to our next topic, effects on financial industry. Strengthened market position. Bank of America's position in a number of industries including investment banking, wealth management and retail banking was bolstered by the acquisition. One of the biggest financial institution in the world was consequently funded. With a stronger market position, Bank of America was able to negotiate better terms with clients and vendors while also strengthening its resistance to market shocks. Next, systematic risk reduction. Bank of America reduced systematic risk that might have arisen from the failure of significant financial institution during the financial crisis by purchasing Merrill Lynch. Because Merrill Lynch was a key player in investment banking, assets management, and stock brokerage, its demise would have had a substantial effect on the financial markets. This was avoided with the acquisition of Merrill Lynch by Bank of America, which also aided in boosting investor confidence in the financial sector. Next, market confidence. The transaction helped financial markets regain some stability and confidence. Investors and stakeholders were reassured by the purchase since it showed the Bank of America was prepared to assume risk involved in acquiring the struggling banking institution. The confidence of market benefited from this. Regulatory scrutiny and reforms. The transaction sparked questions about financial regulations and intensified regulatory scrutiny, along with other high profile deals during the financial crisis. It brought attention to the necessity of the tighter regulation of financial institutions. The Dodd Frank Wall Street reform and the Consumer Protection Act passed in 2010 was a direct reaction to the financial crisis and was thought to be a perceived regulatory vacuum that contributed to it. Legal disputes and settlements. Because of Merrill Lynch's pre acquisition operations, the acquisition gave rise to legal disputes and settlements for Bank of America regarding inadequate disclosures, alleged manipulation of Merrill Lynch financial situation, and the sale of mortgage-backed securities. Bank of America was target of litigation and regulatory inquiries. Both their reputation and finances were impacted by these legal difficulties. Now, moving on, Zainab will talk about job losses and financial intermediaries.
Thank you. Job losses. The merger between Bank of America and Merrill Lynch resulted in the significant job losses across both organizations. Following the acquisition, Bank of America announced plans to cut thousands of their jobs to reduce costs and streamline operations. The extent of job losses varied across different departments and locations, including front office positions, support function, and management roles. The exact number of the exact number of job losses resulting from the merger is difficult to determine, as it's also concurred with the global financial crisis, which led to job cuts throughout the financial industry. Financial intermediaries. As part of the takeover, Bank of America acquired Merrill Lynch States, a network of financial intermediaries, including financial advisors, brokers, and wealth management professionals. This allowed Bank of America to expand its presence in the wealth management and investment banking sectors. Merrill Lynch financial intermediaries gained access to Bank of America broader range of banking products and services, enabling them to offer enhanced solutions to their clients. Integrated challenges. The merger between Bank of America and Merrill Lynch faced significant integration challenges. The financial crisis added to the complexities, as both institutions were dealing with the fallout from the market turmoil. Integrating the different organizations, culture, systems, and operation was a complex task that required significant effort and resources. The process of combining the two organizations took time and resulted in some distribution to operation, affecting both employees and clients. Regulatory security. The merger faced regulatory insecurity due to concerns about the potential impact on competition, systematic risk. In order to obtain regulatory approval, Bank of America agreed to various conditions, including devising certain assets and addressing antitrust concerns. These conditions were aimed at the promoting competition and ensuring the stability of the financial system. Initial concern: the financial crisis of 2008 created uncertainty and volatility in the markets. The announcement of Bank of America takeover of Merrill Lynch came at the time when there were concerns about the stability and solvency of financial institutions. Some clients and investors were apprehensive about the potential impact of the acquisition on the stability and uh, reputations of both Bank of America and Merrill Lynch. Confidence boost. The acquisition was initially seen as positive move by some clients and investors. Bank of America acquisition of Merrill Lynch allowed for the combination of a leading commercial bank with a major investment bank and wealth management firm. This integration was expected to create synergies and offer clients a wider range of products and services. The deal was also seen as a strategic opportunity for Bank of America and strengthen its position in the investment banking and wealth management sectors. Execution challenges. The integration process faced challenges and concern arose about the extensions and interactions of two organizations. The financial crisis added complexity to the integrations as both of Banks of America and Merrill Lynch were dealing with the fallout from the market turmoil. This led to some uncertainty and skepticism among clients and investors about the successful execution of the merger, the ability of the combined entity to deliver on its promises. Government support. During the financial crisis, the US government provided financial support to stabilize the financial system. Bank of America received government assistance, including capital injections to bolster its financial position. This government support helped alleviate some concern and provided a level of confidence to clients and investors regarding the stability of Bank of America and its ability to navigate through the challenging environment. Overall, the client and investor confidence of Bank of America takeover of Merrill Lynch was a mix of skepticism, cautious optimism, and concern about the institutions. The full impact on client and investor confidence unfolded over time as integration process and as the financial industry began to recover from the crisis. We just moving on as is.
Thank you, Zainab. So now I'll be speaking about the long-term performance. The long-term performance of Bank of America's takeover of Merrill Lynch has been influenced by various factors and market conditions since the completion of the acquisition in 2009. Following the merger, Bank of America Merrill Lynch faced significant challenges, particularly related to the financial crisis fallout and the subsequent economic downturn. The integration process itself was complex, requiring the consolidation of various different businesses, lines, and cultures within the merged entity. In the years following the merger, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, like many financial institutions, encountered difficulties stemming from the impact of the global financial crisis. It faced substantial losses and had to navigate through regulatory investigations and legal settlements related to various issues, including mortgage backed securities. However, Bank of America as a whole, including the Merrill Lynch acquisition, made efforts to strengthen its financial position and improve its operations over time. The company implemented cost cutting measures, streamlined its businesses, and focused on risk management to enhance its ability. As the global economy gradually recovered from the financial crisis, Bank of America Merrill Lynch showed signs of improvement. The bank reported stronger financial results, increased profitability, and a more robust capital position. It benefited from the integration of Merrill Lynch's wealth management business, which contributed to its growth in the wealth management sector. It's worth mentioning that the long-term performance of the Bank of America Merrill Lynch merger depends on various factors such as market conditions, regulatory changes, economic trends, and the ability of the institution to adapt and innovate in a dynamic industry. Thank you. So now to conclude everything, the acquisition of Merrill Lynch by Bank of America was a significant event in the financial industry. At that time, Merrill Lynch was one of the world's largest brokerage firms, offering a wide range of financial services including wealth management, investment banking, and trading. However, it had suffered significant losses due to the subprime mortgage crisis and faced liquidity concerns. The acquisition faced several challenges and controversies. One of the main issues was Merrill Lynch's deteriorating financial condition, which was not fully disclosed at Bank of America during the negotiations. As a result, Bank of America faced unexpected losses and additional financial burdens after the acquisition was completed. Despite the challenges, the acquisition finalized on January 1, 2009, and Merrill Lynch became a subsidiary of Bank of America. The combined entity created one of the world's largest financial institutions in the world, with extensive capabilities in wealth management, investment banking, and retail banking. Since the acquisition, Bank of America has continued to operate Merrill Lynch's wealth management division under the brand name Merrill. It has also made efforts to strengthen its investment banking capabilities and expand its presence in the financial markets. Overall, the acquisition of Merrill Lynch by Bank of America marked a pivotal moment in the financial industry, reflecting the challenges faced during the financial crisis and the subsequent consolidation within the banking sector.
Thank you.